The economy is always listed as the most important subject for many voters. If you were in Congress, what would you do to try to improve the economy? And what could you do as a congressional representative to ensure that people in the first district have access to plentiful, good-paying jobs?
Yeah, so you're right. The economy is, for me, job number one. And helping get our economy back on track, especially locally, is my number one priority. And so I'm a job creator. The last 4 or 5 years, I've worked with some great mayors and elected officials, business and community leaders in Sullivan County. And as a result, we were able to do 3 things. One is to recruit businesses, new businesses to our area. 2, we have been able to help our existing employers, existing businesses grow and prosper with a skilled workforce. And of course, that's through workforce development. And last but not least, we've helped entrepreneurs start up new successful businesses to the tune of 3,000 new jobs and over $650 million worth of private capital investment. So I know how to do that. I helped do that for Sullivan County, and I'll do the same for the rest of the district. So that's the first area of success here locally. The second one has to do with Washington, D.C. I would propose legislation that would help us be very pro-business and pro-jobs, pro-job creation. For businesses, that means lower taxes, better trade deals, and also less government regulations. So those are the things that I would advocate up in D.C.
What is the best way legislatively to prevent gun violence, and specifically school shootings and mass shootings?
I don't think we need more laws. We got to get back to just respecting life a lot more, respecting each other. And that's the unborn, newborn, young, middle-aged, and senior citizens. And so as the next congressman from this area, I will lead by example, just like I did in my business for 36 years, and also as mayor of Kingsport. We respected people, and do unto others as you want them to do to you. And that should be our motto. And we don't talk enough about that. Instead, we talk about trying to put another law in place that we can legislate that'll help us improve how we deal with one another. I don't think we need more laws. We just need common sense, decency, dignity, and respecting life more. That's the answer, in my opinion, and that's what I will try to serve as a role model in public office.
What is your plan for fixing America's immigration problem?
So I'm all about legal immigration. I came to this country legally. 10 years later, I followed the legal immigration process, my family and I did, and it was a very proud day when I was in 7th grade, 12 years old, and because I became an American citizen. And I knew that I would have a chance at freedom, at opportunity, and also at the American dream. And I'm a living example of the American dream. So I'm all about legal immigration. And I think those laws that we currently have on the books, we need to implement those and make sure that we have legal immigration in this country. I don't support illegal immigration, and I don't support illegal immigration who are also criminals, like illegal immigrants who are also criminals. So those are the folks that we need to deal with. But to promote living in this country, this is a melting pot of immigrants, our country is. So I'm all about immigration, but I want it to be legal immigration. That has to happen.
How important is it to not increase the national debt and to balance the budget?
Yeah, I think it's critically important for our future. The fact that our government brings in $4 trillion a year, but we spend $5 trillion is just not acceptable. Then on top of that, so every year we're tacking on $1 trillion debt to our national debt, which is now, I think, at $26 trillion. That's unsustainable. So we have to make adjustments there. And I think there are 4 things that have to happen to start addressing that debt. Number one is that we need to get our economy back on its feet. 3 months ago, we were enjoying the best economy I've seen in my lifetime. We got to get back to that. I think we can do that, and I can help in that regard with my business and public service background. Secondly, we need to stop this movement to socialism. If we think $26 trillion is steep, it'll be a drop in a bucket. If this country moves to socialism, it'll be a lot worse. The third point is we got to balance the budget. We need to do it one time so we learn how to do it. I mean, how tough is it? All of us have to do it across our kitchen tables at home. Our cities and counties in the state of Tennessee must do it by state law, balance a budget. Our businesses have to at least balance the budget, or we're not in business very long. Why is it that our national government, our federal government, can't balance a budget? So balancing the budget is the third thing. And then once we do those three things, then we can put together a 15 to 20-year plan to help reduce our national debt. Our national debt did not happen overnight. It was created over many years. It's going to take several years to get it down, but we got to start with develop an implementation plan that we can drive that will start chipping away at that debt. Otherwise, our country is going to go bankrupt. I mean, you can argue. Some people argue it's already bankrupt, but I just think I think we're better than that as Americans, and so I think it's very doable and very possible to go after that once we apply or focus on it. But those three steps that I mentioned earlier, I think those have to happen first before we have a shot at that.
What, if anything, do you think President Trump could have done better in his handling of COVID-19?
I think he's done a really good job at it, quite frankly. I think he's, you can't predict these national tragedies, I guess. Actually, it's a global pandemic. So, I mean, I guess you can say, I wish that he would have picked up on it earlier. Well, I thought it was pretty fast the way he did it with his administration. I think they made adjustments pretty quickly, actually, and stopped this travel back and forth with China. Could he have communicated it better? I mean, there's always room for improvement in anything that you do, whether it's in your personal life, business life, or public service life. So I don't think I would have done. I don't think I see ways that or things that he should have initiated that he didn't. I think the area, if there's any improvement whatsoever, it would be maybe in the timing. But I think he's done. I think the government has handled it very, very well, quite frankly, from where I sit.
Do you believe climate change is real? And if so, what do you think is the best approach to combat it?
I believe our climate is changing, but I think this, being a business guy on the manufacturing front, I can tell you we've made a lot of improvements in how we manufacture our products that I'm familiar with, and I know that's the way it is across the board. I think we've got to continue doing what we've been doing, and that is businesses continue to improve how they produce product and with carbon emissions and so forth. And that's been a gradual improvement. But what I don't like is that everybody thinks America is the one that needs to make all the improvements. The reality of it is the other industrial countries in the world, like China and India and so forth, where pollution is very, very high, we need to force them to be responsible, corporate business citizens as well. And so I think America needs to continue leading like we have. I think businesses are continuing to make the improvements there. What I don't think we should do is to drive this new Green Deal that these socialist Democrats are driving. They're all about fixing the environment at the expense of jobs and livelihoods here. The pressure that they would put on businesses and on all of us to change our quality of life that we enjoy in order to make improvements, I think is too very excessive. So I think America needs to continue leading like it is in improving the quality of life for folks with our drinking water, our air, and so forth. But at the same time, we need to put pressure on all the other countries to do better as well. And I don't think we've done enough of that.
If you were elected to Congress, what would you do to address the racial tension evident in recent protests, and how would you try to improve race relations in the district, the Tri-Cities, and the rest of this district?
Yeah, so I think racism does exist to some extent around this country, I'm sure. I'm sure it exists in some capacity here in the Tri-Cities as well, or in the 1st District. But I don't think it's very prevalent. The people I know and the experience I have, although I've been able to meet a lot of folks during this campaign in other areas, but what I do know is the city of Kingsport. In the city of Kingsport, I can tell you, that we have great relationships in our town, between our citizens, all neighborhoods, including African American neighborhoods, and so I think it's because we have a tendency to respect people a lot and respect life, and so I know that that in my case I've seen great cooperation between the neighborhoods that we have in the city of Kingsport, and I'm assuming that's the way it is in all the other 12 counties and 18 cities as well. So I think racism does exist, but it's not prevalent in my opinion, and it's not, you have bad actors in every industry, in every city, in every neighborhood, but those are few and far between in our area, in my opinion. As your next congressman, I would try to lead by example. I would respect people's lives, everyone. I think all lives matter, and I think just treating people with human decency and dignity is the best we can do. And if we do that, and I know a lot of people feel that way in this area, that we'll continue to have harmony. This country is big enough for everybody to live in and to participate. And in this area too, we love to help each other out. We have more nonprofit organizations, more church ministries than I've ever seen in the different places that I've lived. So I know that if someone needs a helping hand, it's out there. People are willing to help out, and that's one of the reasons why I still live in this area. I love the people here, and I love how we deal with each other, and so I have great friends in all the neighborhoods, and including the African American neighborhoods as well. We have great people there, and we have great leaders in those neighborhoods, and I know firsthand because I've worked with them as mayor of the city of Kingsport, and we've done some great things together. So that needs to continue.
Do you support a regional economic development effort that could involve merging economic development organizations and possibly even chambers of commerce in the Tri-Cities and maybe beyond? And if you do, what role could or should a congressperson take in that?
Yeah, I think the congressional seat is kind of unique because you oversee, again, 12 counties and 18 cities. So you have the opportunity, you have the perspective of seeing what everyone else is doing around. It's kind of a very unique seat, and the ability to share best practices with each other, I think, is a very regional approach. So we can improve communications between all the counties and all the cities. I think that's an opportunity that this seat does provide. And as your next congressman, I really want to drive that. Because I think if we can share best practices and not necessarily have to reinvent the wheel, that will help us accelerate our success factor in the region in terms of improving the quality of life for people and also ensuring a very prosperous future for everyone. I do believe that the Tri-Cities or the district does work well as a region. But I think we need to do more in that area, so I'm a big proponent of that. I also believe that we have chambers and we have economic development teams that are working together. But at the end of the day, what happens is that each of the cities and the counties have to pay for their own police officers, their own firefighters, their own teachers, their own public works organizations, and their parks and rec organizations. That's a fact. Until that changes, we're going to have cooperation like we do right now, but the only way that I think it's going to get better is if maybe we form one MSA, and as a congressman, I might be able, because you're in that unique seat that oversees all of these counties and all these cities, you have a chance to work with all the mayors and the elected officials and our employers and everyone and our economic development folks and chambers to see how we might work together, because then that takes away the competition for the revenue that everybody needs to continue their quality of life in their specific neighborhoods. So because of that, yes, I'm definitely pro-regionalism, and I think we do a lot of it right now as best we can based on the circumstances that we all have to live under. And I think also as one MSA, I think we can fight more for federal grants as well. And so as congressman and being the point person in the federal government or in Washington, that would help us fight, I think, more effectively for funds that go to larger cities and MSAs. So yes, I'm all in favor of that, regionalism.
Is there any approach President Trump has taken to his job that you would have done differently? And if so, please describe that.
Yeah, so I have, I support the president's policies, but I do have a different leadership style and communication style and management style. And so I would take that to Washington and to try to bring people together to solve problems. And so, but at the same time, I love the results that he's getting, and I really support the policies that he has. And so I want to help him achieve his goals, because I think his goals are my goals. But I have a different way, I think, of going about it, just like everyone else. I mean, we're all different, and but we can be very, very successful. And one of the things I love about public service and business as well is that you have people who have, from different backgrounds, different experience levels, different personalities, and different ways of getting things done. But everybody, if you respect everybody's input and everybody's opinions, you can still work with each other and be successful. And so that's been my experience, and that's the experience that I want to take to Washington, D.C. So, yeah, I think I feel that way.
Last question.
Yeah.
This is the moment for you to speak to voters. What makes you the best person to represent them?
I think my business and my public service background and the experiences that I have and who I am, for instance, I'm a man of faith, I'm a family man, I'm a businessman. I just ended my 36-year career 5 years ago. I'm a public servant as well, 7 years serving the citizens of Kingsport and in Sullivan County to improve their quality of life and ensure a prosperous future for our area. I did that. I'm not a career politician. So because of my business background and my personal background too, I have family here in Tennessee who are longtime farmers, law enforcement personnel, military veterans, builders and contractors, and teachers and educators. I know how important those jobs are to our communities and the great people who do those jobs and what their needs are to be successful. So with that background and those experiences, I think I'm well suited to be the next hands-on, successful, hardworking congressman for the residents of this district, and I really think I can make a positive difference in their lives. I think the other thing is too, my background in terms of losing our freedoms and regaining them here, coming to this country. I really believe the number one problem that our country faces right now at this point, outside of the economy, is this movement to socialism. And that is bigger government. Bigger government means less individual freedoms for all of us. I don't want that to happen. I have firsthand experience with my family as to what happens when government gets too big and too controlling, that they take over bank accounts, land, homes, businesses, and we lose our freedoms. I don't want that to happen to you and me, our community, and our kids and our grandchildren. So this is the time to fight in Washington, D.C., to preserve and protect our freedoms, to fight this movement to socialism, and help this president hold off these leftist socialist Democrats that are seriously trying to make a major move in changing the direction of our country. So for those reasons, I think I'm the best candidate to protect our freedoms and also in terms of job creation. No one else running for this race has had the results and the experiences that I've had in terms of creating jobs. I've done it already. I've been part of a great team that really achieved 3,000 new jobs and a bunch, $650 million worth of private capital investment. All of that has helped improve the quality of life for people in our area. And so I want to go and use this position to do the same thing in Sullivan County, but also expand it beyond Sullivan County to all the other counties within the district. I know how to do that. So if that's what people want, they want a congressman that's going to fight hard for them, preserve their freedoms, fight hard for jobs and so forth, I'm their man. And I would respectfully and humbly ask for their vote.
John Clark, thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.